the amount of mental that I see in the past 10 to 15 years has gone up dramatically. There are probably a number of reasons for this, but a big part of it is our moving away from nature, from our own true nature and from nature around us. And so this mental increase then isn't because there's something wrong with humans. It's not that there's something wrong with us. But it is how we're living and what we're exposed to that makes a tremendous difference in our ability to see life clearly and to see our path in life. Mental versus physical is somewhat different. The overall effects are similar. We're very familiar with the toxins that we talk about in the digestive tract and the toxins that we talk about in the blood because it shows up in the skin and problems like that. The mental has a pervasive effect on everything. It has an effect on our thinking, how we perceive life, how we perceive our body, and it's having an effect physically on the body. In addition, it's something that keeps us from our connection to our higher self or to our spiritual self. It's something that feels like an enormous wall in life, but actually doesn't have to stay that way. Mental comes from a similar place as the physical that we talk about, meaning our capacity to digest is based on our willingness, for example, to accept life. So we digest our food if we have good quality food and good combinations of food and appropriate eating habits and things like that. But then we also need to be in acceptance of life. And when we're in resistance to life, then we don't digest it. And we create this mental, this idea that we have resistance to life, in other words, that we have difficulty digesting life, is because there are so many unnatural things that we're doing. We are exposed to so much, too much in life, whether it's through social media or too much travel, too much doing in life, and not enough being and being able to be with ourselves and to be with others in a very personal way. Those are the things that have us feel secure in life. To have a sense of connection, a sense of belonging, when we have just a sense of the rhythm of nature, for example. That I have a sense of when does the sun come up, when does it go down? What's the cycle of the moon? How is that affecting me? To not just think that we're these creatures that are bouncing through the universe and randomly, because that's really not the case. We have a tremendous amount of control over how we experience life and what's happening in life. And this ability, though, to accept what's happening around me and then to actually process that, this ability to do that is impaired by this mental and a lot of it is created by too much information. Too much information. We thought that the information age came and it was going to give us more knowledge, but it hasn't really done that. Our knowledge comes from understanding and being with and learning our nature and learning from nature around us. So this general disconnection, and then for individuals, some more specific things are what make the difference in our ability to process life and to be able to not be creating this mental on an ongoing basis. It starts early in life. If we feel like we have to do something that feels completely wrong to us, or if we have something that doesn't just we can't register it, we can't have it make sense, but we accept it. And so that at that moment we go against who we are. And so as we do that, then we start to layer things on top of it to try to keep it from causing a difficulty in life, you might say, because we're fairly well trained to not cause difficulties. And so as we unravel all of that with Ayurveda and understand that, we can just go a little bit at a time and start cleaning it up, you could say, and starting to recognize that we don't just have to accept that mental as being there for the rest of our lives. It's just like we can have a spring cleaning or an autumn cleaning every year in the house, but we can have that cleaning on a regular basis. And it gives us an increased sense of security in life, an increased sense of connection, which then gives us the opportunity to be able to recognize our purpose in life. Then we can develop momentum and things get much, much different and much better. I recently had a client with a large amount of mental and it was affecting her in many different ways, not only in her ability to move forward in the things that she wanted to do in life, but it was also having an effect on her physical being. Her weight was very high, and this mental was part of what was having her be so sedentary and also self-judgmental, such that it was holding her back in life tremendously, and to the point where she had done a lot of education to move forward in her career and wasn't able to actually take the steps to do it. So there was a lot of fear and actually a lot of ego, a lot of pridefulness that was building up around it to try to hide the fear. So with her, I started with the physical because the results would come very quickly. And that's important in order for most people, because it helps them to keep going. And actually, it's been a process. The first layer was a great deal of physical discomfort, symptoms going away, and then actually, this person went on a little detour. So after a period of time with Ayurveda and taking up the practices and getting these results, the mental took over and distraction. And she went away and she started trying a diet. She decided to become a vegan and tried a raw diet for that period of time. And then she came back because she was already, again, not feeling well with different symptoms, but still having essentially the same problems. So as she went into this more deeply, then we started to be able to actually address the mental directly. And we did this through energetic practices as well as some counseling, talking about what was happening. And when I say counseling, I don't mean analyzing things psychologically at all, but just to recognize that that type of thinking, am I going to continue to choose to have that level of self-judgment, for example? Because in the self-judgment is this lack of acceptance back to not digesting life. So what makes the big difference then is to encourage that person to accept their starting point. And when we accept the starting point, then we can make steps forward. That has made a tremendous difference. All of the excess weight is gone, and it's been a process in over a year of recognizing the level of self-judgment and just letting it go piece by piece. And again, using some energetic tools to do that. This is the kind of thing that our counselors and a good Ayurveda practitioner can walk you through, how to recognize where are those pieces maybe they're affected by an imbalanced dosha many times. And to understand that connection, very helpful, because we recognize that it's not just some mental weakness that I have, but rather that there's a dynamic happening with the elements that make up the doshas. And as I bring those elements back into balance, then I have the opportunity to see myself more clearly. I often say to people that if you do this, make these changes with Ayurveda, you won't recognize yourself in a year. I hear that commonly. So this is how we practice Ayurveda at Hale Pule. In other words, to address the whole person and to recognize that there is this possibility of mental as well as the physical difficulties that are so easy to observe. These days, there are many Ayurveda practitioners who are not addressing this, that are just looking at the body. The results are usually not as complete, not as thorough, not as extensive. People have been accustomed to saying, well, I want to just manage the symptoms, or I want to manage the diagnosis of the disease. And we take an approach that most disease is reversible. And so we're going to take the approach that, how do I do that? What do I need to do? And so as part of that, I can address the physical, but if it's truly Ayurveda and not through the lens of Western medicine, modern medicine, then I'm going to address the whole person. And so the mental is part of it. And recognizing that I can have a physical problem, but our thinking is that it's only physical. And there isn't anything that's only physical. Now, one of the things that we recognize in Ayurveda is that all disease begins in the mind. And so this addressing the mind as part of the whole is an important aspect of Ayurveda practice. And so this is how we approach it in our Ayurveda Health Counselor training, that is that we are counseling, and not counseling in the sense of a therapist or something of that nature. It's one human with another. And then taking the principles of Ayurveda and bringing that into the conversation, and guiding that person, the client, to understand that they have tremendous power by understanding what those principles in relation to their experience as a human being, and taking care of the body and mind. In the Ayurvedic Health Counselor training, particularly the case studies that we do live with myself, we're walking through these aspects of what is counseling in this situation. So, for example, we've gone through with someone the physical symptoms for them to understand how we look at that from an Ayurveda standpoint. What do we need to do to bring the balance? And then as part of that is this aspect of what's happening with the mind. And so it's part of all of it, and there are case studies all the way through the training. But then we also have a number of live case studies where it's a discussion. So it's not just me presenting, because there's plenty of that actually in the material of the training. But ongoing now, we have these dialogues. And this is where we're able to train our counselors to be able to think through things, to think outside the box. In other words, not just to look at somebody, you see some symptoms and you see that's dosha imbalance, and then that's it. But that there's more to it. What's going on in their life? What's going on with them? And so these are the things that we're talking with each other about. How would I address that with the client? When would I talk about these things and that? So those are the types of opportunities that we have, and this is how we train people, so that when the training is complete, that they feel confident that they have some tools to work with, that they can go right directly working with clients. One of the ways that you can begin to get a sense of what is this mental is to be a good listener to start with. And sometimes that means we need to listen to ourselves. What is the self-talk that's going on? But to recognize that oftentimes that thinking is negative opinion. I'm not good enough, or I don't know how to do this perfectly, so therefore I'm not going to do it. Or I'm going to tell you how incredibly wonderful I am so that I can hide that feeling of I can't do this, I'm not enough. Any of us are capable of any of that. But when we start to actually observe it from a place of neutrality, and this is what we teach our counselors to do, then we can start to see where's that coming from and how can I clear that charge, that energy that's taking me down that path, or taking this other person down that path. And so that's how we start to make the changes, is that we look, where's the charge that has me holding on to that? And so it's good to have a giggle at oneself with that, because that helps move the energy. And when we have that mental this is stuck energy. Another place that you might observe it would be when that anger just comes like that. So when somebody else is doing something that you don't want them to do, or that you think they shouldn't be doing, and you get angry about it, this is mental and so we can start to do something about that. We need to start to find out where it's coming from and clear up that charge that's there. Something usually from the past, something from what we call samskara. Most important when you're doing this is to leave out the self-judgment. Because when we start judging ourselves, that just creates more of the mental So see what it would be without that.